Today we're checking out this Barricade HD3 Stubby front bumper for the 2018 and newer Jeep Wrangler JLs. If you want better approach angles, solid recovery options, and a tough, compact off-road look, this Stubby bumper is a big step up from the bulky factory setup, so it's definitely worth looking into. The HD3 bumper is built to give you a rugged style with real-world function to go with it. The stubby width of this bumper is perfect for off-road use because it keeps the bumper from blocking your tires when you're turning and climbing, and it helps you clear obstacles without dragging the corners. Up top, you're getting a tubular overrider hoop, which adds protection to the grille area and gives the front end that tougher, built-out look. It also has these high-strength D-ring mounts on either side, so you can run proper recovery operations and have confidence when it's time to get pulled out or help pull someone else. Another really nice touch is the cutouts for the auxiliary lights and the mounts on the inside, which makes it really easy to add a pair of cube lights on the corners or an LED bar across the middle. You can also just run it the way it comes right out of the box and use these cover plates inside to make it look factory fresh, and you don't need to add any lighting, but you still have that option if you want to go that route down the road. Overall, this bumper makes a ton of sense if you want a cleaner and more capable front end that's ready for trails, daily driving, and anything in between. When it comes to the construction on this, you are getting a bumper made from heavy gauge steel plating and a tubular steel overrider hoop finished in a texture black powder coat. The steel plate sections are going to form the main shell, and the tubular steel overrider hoop adds extra protection around the grille and light area. The texture black powder coat finish is going to help fight rust, rock chips, and trail rash to keep things looking good over time. And the welded on D-ring tabs are reinforced to handle real recovery loads. All the mounting points are formed steel that tie back into the Jeep's frame rails, so the bumper isn't just for looks, it's really built for real world work. Now, as far as the pricing goes on this, it's going to come in right around that $500 price range. That's a fair price for a full steel stubby bumper with an overrider hoop, recovery points, and fog light mounts. When it comes to the install on this one, it's going to get rated just a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, and you can get this job done in only 2 hours of your time. So let's head on out to the shop. We're going to give you a detailed walkthrough of exactly how this install process goes.
For this install, you will need an impact, various ratchets, an extension, 1/4 inch to 3/8 adapter if necessary, 4 and 5 millimeter Allen sockets, 8, 13, 16, and 18 millimeter sockets, 10, 13, and 16 millimeter wrenches. You're provided Allen wrenches and a clip removal tool. All right, today we're going to be installing a new front bumper on our Wrangler, but before we get started, we're going to send you to watch a quick video on how to remove your factory setup, and we'll see you when you get back.
So our first step to this install is to take off our upper splash shield. Now for this, you're going to need a trim removal tool. We're going to remove the couple of pop clips that are holding it in. You're going to have 2 on the main frame rail part, and then we're going to have a couple along the front. So you're also going to have 2 7mm screws on either side on the back here at the corner of this splash guard. Now, we do not have any in there, so what we can do at this point is remove them or remove our upper splash guard, but you would need a 7mm socket in order to remove that. Now we can head underneath the Jeep. So our next step is to remove our lower splash shield. Now there are 2 8mm screws on the back that we need to remove first. I'm going to use an 8mm socket. I'm also using just a small extension here to give myself some room. My electric ratchet. Then there are going to be multiple clips up at the front that are holding in the front of the splash shield. I am going to take my trim removal tool that we used up top, and we can remove those. Once all of those are removed, we can fully remove the splash shield. Next, we can remove our skid plate. There's going to be 2 16mm bolts on either side. I'm going to use a 16mm socket, my electric ratchet, to remove those. Once both bolts are removed, we can push up on the shield and pull it out. Next, what we need to do is disconnect our fog light wiring harness. There's just gonna be one connector for the main harness. Just press down, pull back. And then we can start to remove the hardware that's holding on our bumper. So I'm gonna use an 18mm socket and a small extension and my electric ratchet, and we're gonna remove the nuts that's holding on the front bumper. So this may be a little bit difficult to see because of the splash guard on the side, but we're gonna take an 18mm socket and remove the 2 nuts on the outside of our frame rail that are holding on our bumper. Then we can repeat that for the other 6 studs. So at this point, what we need to do is just pull our bumper back and off of the frame rail.
All right, welcome back. Now that we have our factory bumper off our Wrangler, we've got our new setup up on the table because there's a few things we're gonna need to do before we can just put it onto our vehicle. So we're gonna start by putting our top hoop onto our bumper. That's gonna be mounted by 4 of our 5mm Allen head bolts with lock washers, flat washers, and 13mm flange nuts. We've got 4 alignment holes. We'll get these in place, get it tightened down. All right, so now we'll get our hoop lined up with our first mounting hole. One of our bolts in. Get a flange nut on the back side. Do the same thing for our other hole. Now we'll get our other 2 in, and then we'll come back and tighten down our hardware. Now we can tighten down our hardware using our provided 5mm Allen wrench and a 13mm ratcheting wrench. And once you got this first one tight, you can do the same thing for the rest of your hardware. Next, we can loosely install our 2 mounting tabs for up in this inner center area. We've got our provided 16mm bolts with lock washers and flat washers. We're gonna get these mounted in place and just get these hand tight for now. So we'll get our first bolt through our bracket. That lined up with our threaded insert. That one started. Our other one in. And once you got this side loosely in place, you can do the same thing for the other side. So next we're gonna get our center mesh insert into place. Now this is gonna be mounted by 2 brackets. So we're gonna get our brackets in place along this bottom mounting point first, and then we can install our mesh insert. So what we're gonna do for that is grab our provided 13mm bolts with lock washers, flat washers, and our nut. We'll get the 2 brackets in place, and we'll set our insert in. So we'll get our bracket lined up, get our bolt and flat washer through. We can get our flat washer, our lock washer, and our nut loosely in place. Then we'll do the same thing for the other bracket. Now we can get our insert in place, so we're going to line our mounting ears on our insert up with our brackets, and then get 2 more of our provided 13mm bolts and washers and nuts in place. We get our first one in. And once you got this one loosely in place, we'll do the same thing on the other side. We're gonna leave this hand tight for now. Next, we're gonna install our provided combo nut and bolt plate into our mounting section out here on this outer part. These two are gonna get a combination of nuts and bolts. So we'll slide this in. We're gonna get our stud for our bolt plate in the top hole, and then work our nut to line up with the bottom hole and hold it in with this retainer washer. Once you got this one in, you can do the same thing on the other side. Next, we're going to install our provided front tag bracket. That's going to go on the two mounting holes directly under our logo. It's going to be held in place by our 4mm Allen head combo bolts and 10mm flange nuts. So we'll get this in place and get these tightened down. So now we'll get our first bolt in to our bracket, get that lined up. Get our flange nut on the back side. Other one through. Now we'll use our 4mm Allen socket and a 10mm wrench. Tighten this down. All right, so now at this point, we've got our bumper mostly assembled. We're gonna bring it over to the vehicle and get it lined up with our factory mounting points and get it in place loosely and get our hardware installed. All right, so now we'll get our bumper lined up. And we're just gonna loosely install our first flat washer, lock washer, and nut on our studs just to hold it in place. Next, we're gonna get our mounting bolts into our inner top side mount. So we're gonna get our bolt and flat washer through the front. You may have to lift up on your bumper a little bit. And for the back side of that, we're gonna grab a flat washer, lock washer, and nut. So get those on. We'll show you what all these looks like when we come to the back side to tighten them. And once you got this one loosely in place, you can do the same thing for the other side. Next, we're going to install our lower middle mounting point, and we're going to grab our single nut plate and our provided bolt with a lock washer and flat washer for that. We're going to get the nut plate behind our bracket here, and then come from the back side with our bolt. Now we've got our bolt through, get our nut plate onto our bolt. Get that started. And you can do the same thing on the other side. Now once we have those bolts installed, we're gonna need to install our provided shims between the bumper bracket and the factory frame horn mount. So the easiest way to do that is to hold it like so. Slide that in and make sure it's sitting on the bolt you just passed through. Then we can do the same thing on the other side. So now we can come underneath and get our last mounting bolt into our nut side of our combo plate. So we've got our provided bolt, lock washer, and flat washer. And get this through. Again, you may have to lift up on your bumper. Get it in. And you can do the same thing on the other side. So now that we have all of our hardware in place, we're going to come back and tighten everything down. So we've got our 18mm socket on our ratchet. We'll get these two first. And we'll tighten down our other two. So then we'll come in and tighten our inner two bolts up. So again, we've got our 18mm socket. This top one as well. Now we can tighten down our two mounting bolts for our upper bracket. We've got our 16mm ratchet wrench. Now once you got everything tightened down on this side, you can do the same thing on the other side. So now before we tighten down our mesh insert, we want to make sure it's centered in our cover. So we're going to loosely lay this over and make sure it's where we want it. If not, we'll adjust it. Then we'll come back and tighten that down, and then we can install our cover. Pretty good. So now we'll take this back off so we can tighten our mesh insert down. All right, now we're going to grab our 13mm socket on our ratchet and a 13mm wrench to tighten down our mounting bolts for our bracket as well as our mesh insert. We'll also tighten down our bracket bolts. Once you got these two tight, you can do the same thing for the other side. Now we can fully reinstall our cover and mount that in place with our 6 provided 4mm Allen head combo bolts. These lined up with our threaded inserts, and then install our hardware. Remember, you have 2 up top, so we'll get those in place, then we'll come back and tighten that down with our 4mm Allen socket. And we'll grab our 4mm Allen socket and tighten these down. Once you got these 3 tight, you can tighten down your other 3. Now we can reinstall our lower splash guard bracket, so we'll hook our tabs back in. And we can reinstall our factory hardware. And we'll come back with our 16mm socket and tighten these down. Alrighty, that about wraps up our review and install of our Barricade HD3 Stubby front bumper for your 18 to current Jeep Wrangler JL. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Wrangler, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.